Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com, and I have these 4 phones, and I'm going to talk about them and compare them and try to tell you what I think and which one might be better or worse for you. We call it a dogfight, and this is some kind of crazy summer blockbuster dogfight. We'll move on to the T-Mobile Vibrant Samsung Galaxy S phone. There's the unlocked Global Galaxy S. There's the Captivate on AT&T. There's the Epic 4G, which is a little different with the hard keyboard on Sprint. There's the Fascinate, which is coming to Verizon hearing October, maybe November. And then right now you've got, in the US I'm talking about, and then you've got the Vibrant on T-Mobile. Pros, the display, I would say it's second to the iPhone overall. But 4 inches, gorgeous, super AMOLED display is actually a little bit better in direct sunlight than the other phones. It was made to be better. It's responsive, it's pretty smooth. In general, works very well. You've got Android. It's Android 2.1, not 2.2 at this point. You've got the Samsung custom skin, the TouchWiz skin, which I personally would prefer just stock Android. But this one actually isn't all that bad. It's certainly a big improvement over previous TouchWiz UIs. Really, it's kind of this grid look. It almost looks like it's trying to ape the iPhone a little more than the other Android phones. But, for what it is, it's fine. I don't have a big problem with it. I know Android purists will, or might, I should say. But it supports live wallpapers, does all that stuff. You've got your notifications bar. You've got all the stuff you'd expect on Android. Other pros from this phone, this is kind of a pro and con thing. Well, a pro on this is on T-Mobile, it's a great value in terms of T-Mobile's. You can get this phone, I've seen it for free on contract not through T-Mobile, but through some of the third-party providers. You can find them online. But then, T-Mobile's service plans, with their, combination of voice and data often work out to be cheaper than AT&T and Verizon for sure, and then cheaper than Evo on Sprint, because with Sprint you have to pay the extra $10 for the premium data fee. We'll talk about that in a second. So definitely a pro is the value you get in this device. Another pro is it's fast. And another pro, which could be a con, is it's very lightweight. And I think the 4-inch display size is the sweet spot for most people between a lot of screen real estate and not being too big. You get a phone like the Droid X, and it's only a little bit bigger, but already, you're looking at a lot bigger than something like the iPhone. And then also the Droid X has this little chin on the back, which for using it is fine. They did a nice job balancing the phone. For pocketability, could be an issue for some people. Whoops, I'm gonna break everything. But to me, the 4-inch really hits the sweet spot. Also, the phone is very lightweight, so it kind of just disappears in your pocket. It does have a little bit of a chin at the bottom there, not as much. On the con side, the reason it's so lightweight is because it's very plasticky. And, when you get the haptic feedback going, when the phone vibrates, the whole thing kind of buzzes in your hand. And, so you could look at it either way. You could say, oh, it's nice and lightweight, or you could say it's cheap and plasticky feeling, kind of your call. The Captivate on AT&T, I don't actually like the styling of the Captivate, but it does feel more solid in the hand. 720p video capture on this phone has been pretty good. The camera is fine. Not a deal breaker, but not the best camera out there, 5 megapixel. And then you've got some interesting stuff on here. It's got Swipe pre-installed, which is pretty cool. It's not the only one. The screen looks great for when you're... oh, that's not... My link was broken that right. Screen looks great when you're watching, video clips and that kind of stuff. Supposedly there's a Samsung media store that's going to be opening where you can buy and rent movies, their own kind of, iTunes type thing, but that's not available yet on these phones. Samsung widgets, actually, some of them are kind of cool. The daily briefing thing's kind of cool. The other one's not so much. In general, you've just got the power of Android. Another con, though, similar to the Droid X, is that these are 2.1, not 2.2 out of the box. I think we'll probably see 2.2 on the Droid X before we see it on Captivate, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long for Captivate. The DLNA-based media sharing system on these phones is kind of cool if you have DLNA devices already in your home. And also, you can't forget the sliding USB port cover. Pretty sweet. All right, I'm only half kidding with that. We'll move on to the Evo. And the Evo is a phone that has really lived up to the hype, has a lot going for it. It was the first 4G phone in America, the first kind of giant screen phone with the 4-inch display. In the US, we saw the HTC HD2 overseas first, but then this phone hit. And so what you've got right now, it's got Android 2.2 with HTC Sense running over it, but it's the only Android 2.2 phone out of these devices, which does make a difference. You also get, the large screen. It's very responsive. It's got good build quality. The phone is solid in the hand. A little heavier than, you have to look up the specs, I always forget. It feels a little heavier to me than the Droid X does. It's also a little bit wider, so the Droid X is actually a little bit easier to hold if you have smaller hands. And the Evo actually has a few less pixels than the Droid X does. But that being said, it feels very solid. The screen's very, very responsive. If you like HTC Sense, then it's there for you, and it's a nice, they keep refining it, and it brings a lot of extra power. If you like the way it works, brings a lot of extra power to your desktop. It is the only 4G phone out of this bunch. It also has a front-facing camera for video calling. It's got an 8-megapixel camera on the back, dual LED flash, HD video capture. It all performs quite well. Again, I give the nod to iPhone just for image quality still and captured, but the Evo is certainly no slouch. It's got the kickstand, which is a lot less of a gimmick than you might think if you haven't used it. It's nice how it snaps into place, and if you're watching video content or what have you on the phone, it really does. It works well, and HTC, I think, really nailed the the whole social networking integration with your Facebook contacts and all that stuff and the way they do Sense. That's something that you now see on the other phones with Android 2 and just the updates that the different companies are making. But, HTC kind of led the way in that, and I still think they do it very well. And then, of course, you've got the 4G service, which I don't have where I am, so it doesn't matter to me. But if you're in an area where Sprint 4G is lit up, you're going to get faster speeds, although there is, a debate raging between the way Sprint did 4G and the way T-Mobile is doing HSPA+. And while this is not an HSPA+ device, the G2, just announced G2, will be. If you're in HSPA+ area, you still benefit from faster speeds on the Vibrant. And, it's interesting to look at the actual speeds, actual use cases. It gets very complicated. Point being that, 4G is fast, not always faster than 3.75G, but, generally speaking, faster than 3G on these, except I don't have 4G where I am, so what do I care? The thing about the 4G, though, is you have to pay the $10 a month premium data fee, which Sprint says is not just about 4G, it's about, video calling with Fring and other stuff. But basically, it's paying for 4G whether you're in a 4G area or not. So, I'm just waiting for the 4G to come to the Bay Area. You get the mobile hotspot feature if you want to do that. Another con about the iPhone I forgot to mention is the tethering. There's no mobile hotspot, the whole tethering thing, AT&T limitations, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the mobile hotspot works on 4G, and you've got the front-facing camera if you want to do the Fring video calling or quick. It's not, the video calling integration is not as seamless on this device as it is on Apple's device, but then again, you can do video calling to more, people and places because it's not closed, just to Apple only. Do a Fring test call. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to actually call the person but there you can see. Oh, it's just a canned thing. Okay. Hello, you're on YouTube. I like your tank top. And there you go. So you can see it works. So there you go. And in terms of value, the value proposition with Sprint is brought down a little bit because of the $10 a month extra fee you have to pay for the premium data. But in many cases, it still represents a better monthly value than the iPhone on AT&T or the Droid X on Motorola. Another knock on the iPhone on AT&T iPhone 4 is that now with AT&T having changed their data plan offerings, if you're a heavy data user, you're going to pay more because it's not an unlimited data plan anymore. So bear that in mind. So there you go. Again, like I said, I'm still running close to 20 minutes here just trying to talk about the different features. I didn't actually demo that much, but we have tons of videos on all these devices. So, you can get more in depth with those. But I would break it down this way. Best phone for voice phone calls, Droid X. Best multimedia computer for capturing and consuming media, no matter where you get it from, iPhone 4. Best value amongst these, vibrant. Best device for the hardcore power user, I'm going to go with Evo, because I think the hardcore power user is probably not somebody who identifies themselves as an iPhone person. They probably would identify themselves more as an Android person. And like I said, the for everything from the notifications to the widgets to Google's great, they call it voice actions now in 2.2, but the whole voice system, the built-in nav, all that stuff, power features on Android. And because it's the only phone here that runs 2.2, and then in many other ways it's equal or slightly better, slightly worse than the Vibrant and the Droid X, the Evo gets the nod. Plus, if you're in a 4G area, you've got the power of 4G behind you, for whatever that's worth. Like I said, the whole 4G versus HSPA Plus thing is a sticky issue there. So, in terms of ranking them, it's hard for me to rank, pick one particular winner, because it's so much about what you want out of your phone. If you don't want an iPhone, well, then there you go. Take this one out of the equation. If you know you want an iPhone, well, then take the other three out of the equation. If the best camera possible is what you want the iPhone. If you want the best value, you want a great phone, they're all great phones. You want the best value, depending on your particular needs in terms of number of lines and all that stuff, Vibrant. If you want, a big touchscreen, right, the biggest screen possible, not highest res, but the biggest, then you've got these two. And then, it's just a matter of the form factor and all that kind of stuff. So it really comes down to what you want. They're all great phones. They all have their weaknesses, all of their strengths, like I said. So this is where I turn it over to you. And seriously, I get to test these phones. The review units I have for a short amount of time. But even, I own the iPhone, but I don't use it every day. I switch phones all the time to try out all these different phones. Like I said, Droid 2, Epic 4G, all this other stuff that could be included in here, but it's not. So if you own one of these phones, we want to hear from you. How long have you had it? What do you think of it? Do you regret your decision? Do you think it's great? Is it a 1? You like it, but there's one thing that's killing you about it. Are you like, dude, where's the Blackberries? Whatever it is, hit us up in the comments. Definitely, if you're, come to the PhoneDog website if you're watching this somewhere else, because we have more information, videos, user comments are hugely important, written reviews, and then you can also get the perspective of our other editors, not just me, because maybe you disagree with me, you want to know what somebody else is. So there you go. 4-way dogfight. I don't think I've ever done one before. I hope it came out all right. But again, I know I'm repeating myself, say it one more time. Best voice quality and possibly the easiest to type on, Droid X. Best multimedia computer and possibly the easiest to type on, iPhone 4. Best value in a powerhouse phone, Vibrant. Best phone for the hardcore geeky power user, Evo 4G. I hope that helps you somehow. My name is Noah from PhoneDog.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.